Good evening. It is 5:35. I now call this meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Art Commission to order. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call?
Commissioner Barraza?
Yes. Present. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Present.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Collier?
Present.
Commissioner Dolan?
Present.
Commissioner Duran?
Present.
Commissioner Kucharski? Here. Commissioner Miller?
Here.
Commissioner Trio?
Here.
Vice Chair Ward?
Present.
And Chair McCoy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Woo! We have everybody here, and everybody is on time
Full house.
today. Of course, it's the last meeting of the year, so we're going to get down to some business.
They were told there'd be a party. Is there no holiday party?
Aaron forgot to bring the goodies.
Wait,
Yeah.
where's...
But Sarah went all out. We got muffins. We got pastries from Starbucks. Yeah. Woo. All right, let's get down to business. We will now begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please stand? Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will start with the approval of the agenda. City Clerk, are there any changes or proposed changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved?
Thank you, Commissioner Dolan. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. This item is approved. We will now move on to approval of minutes. City Clerk, are there any changes to the minutes from November 7th, 2025?
No, there are not.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Dolan. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. This item is approved. We will now move on to member reports and comments. As a reminder, this is a time for commission members to report anything they feel important for the public or commission to know, but it's not a time for discussion. Commissioner Barraza.
Madam Chair, I just want to point out that I have an interest in two topics down the road, down the line. One has to do with public safety in the parks and the use of the Parks Ranger classification and other issues, our partnership with the various sports organizations, how we rent facilities, who shares responsibility for public safety at those events, and just the policies and procedures that may need to be polished to make sure that we have public safety in our parks. And the second item is services for senior citizens in our city. The reason I bring that up, you may recall that there was the construction of a central senior, it's under process, it hasn't been built. I believe they're going to start construction of a central senior citizen facility. And one of the things that appears to me as I read information about senior citizen services, that the process is being centralized. And so there are folks that live in Southeast Fresno, Southwest, South Central, that may not have transportation, and I'm assuming they're providing transportation. But I just would like to know more how those services are being delivered. And what opportunities do residents that would like to have a senior citizen center near to them, how do they go about getting the attention from our city? In Southeast Fresno, there is the Mosqueda Center, and when I visited neighbors, they were concerned that if you live too far from that center, you just don't get the services you need. So I think as a matter of policy and for us to make some recommendations to our council, it would be useful for us to have a workshop on that topic. And I will formalize that by sending you a mail, Madam Chair, to see if we could, in a calm, relaxed way, we can review those matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please send me that email so I can put it on the next agenda, and then we can have that discussion, because I think we need to have that discussion to see how residents from Southeast, South Central, and Southwest will be able to utilize that facility. So please make sure. Thank you. Commissioner Duran, do you have any comments?
Yes, thank you. Just a quick shout out for the Parks Department. Got some great feedback from the Vinland Park new signage for the different courts thanks to Measure P. So that's my only update. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller. Thank you. Vice Chair Ward.
Thank you. I was able to attend one of the two listening sessions that the Arts Council hosted to gather community feedback around potential updates and areas to revise in the arts grants guidelines. And I wanted to thank all of the community members who continue to email, to call, to show up at meetings like that, and share all their ideas and feedback. I thought it was really great. Some of it was very practical, like down to how the budget's formatted and how difficult it is to just go in and revise the budget. And then some of it was greater themes, like what we can do to encourage more cooperation across the arts and culture communities, so that way some of the established organizations can maybe be incentivized to work with the emerging artists and collectives that are just getting started. So I thought that was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Collier.
First, I want to say to everybody here, season's greetings and Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming out on this very cold night. Over the weekend, we had two excellent shows. Soli Deo Gloria sang, and the Fresno Philharmonic did Home for the Holidays. They're both grant recipients, and it shows the caliber of the work that the Arts Commission and the Arts Council is doing. It's superb. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Korcharski?
No comment at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dolan?
Yeah, I would like to echo the season's greetings to everybody. But I would also like to take this moment at the end of this year, which went by surprisingly fast, to thank city and parks staff in particular for all this work on this commission. And a lot of city staff spent a lot of time on this, and it's really appreciated, including legal counsel, who puts in a lot of hours. And also I'd like to thank the arts groups, Dr. Chavez, but everyone else that's been involved in the long and rich story of the arts funding in Fresno. And those members of the public who've showed up and testified, and I think made this a whole better process over time. So I wanted to thank everybody for that.
Thank you. Commissioner Trujillo?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, well, I would like to thank, if you missed the Christmas parade last Saturday, shame on you. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. It was so many people out there. Shout out to all the groups. I have to shout out a particular one, the line dancing group that was new to the parade this year. They put on for the city, so shout out to them. They worked very, very hard. They've been practicing all year, so they really showed up and showed out. But it was just beautiful. All the vendors, all the families, the Christmas decorations, the lights. It was just something beautiful to see the city come out and support that event. And shout out to you guys for always being here, showing up, taking the time out to come to these meetings and provide comments and keep us in line and make sure that we're serving the community correctly. And shout out to our Cultural Arts Department, Dr. Lilia Chavez, who's always present, no matter if it's a cultural arts agenda item on the agenda or not. She's always present and always willing to provide feedback, so thank you. And yeah, we will move on. We can get caught up in saying a whole bunch of thank yous and Merry Christmases and things like that, but we will move on. We will now move on to city administration and park staff reports and comments. Does anyone from the administration have any reports or comments for the commission?
I am going to continue on with the thank yous. So thank you to the commission and our park staff. We've had a great year. We've got an incredible amount of stuff done this year. It's been a good one, and I look forward to 2026.
Thank you. Does anyone from the park staff have any reports or comments for the commission?
One more thank you. No, thank you to you commissioners for all your work. I'll call it your constructive criticism. It makes us better as parks employees, and to my parks team, those here and those not here, those behind the scenes serving the community. Thank you for all you do. I know many of them are tuning in, so we don't say it often or often enough, but thank you for all that you do. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to unscheduled communication. Would any member of the public like to speak on any issue within the jurisdiction of this commission? You will have up to 3 minutes. As a reminder, if you would like to comment on a scheduled workshop and discussion items, now is the time to make those comments. If you would like to make a comment regarding any of the scheduled hearings, comments will be taken when each item is called.
There's no one online or in the chamber.
One card. Might as well just stay up there. Huh?
Good evening, commissioners and park staff. Sometimes the Arts Council feels a little bit like a stepchild in this process, because while we are very much a part of Measure P and the activities that are just growing in the community, particularly around the arts, I think it's important for us to perhaps have more of a presence in these meetings so that you can be more updated and you don't get stuck just at the grants award period hearing about things. And we would like to request a regular item on your agenda moving forward. But I too want to say thank you. Thank you to the commissioners for all the hard work that you do. And thank you to the park staff who does work in tandem with us. And we respond to their call and their request for information. And so it really is a partnership that we appreciate. Thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you. Anyone online yet? All right, I will now close unscheduled communication and we will move on to workshops. ID number 25-1710, Workshop Commission's Review and Input for Measure P 2024 Annual Report. Would someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, yeah, that's good, thank you. All right, you should have a copy in front of you, but we'll just get the presentation loaded. I'm Shelby McNabb. I'm the Assistant Director in the Parks Department, and tonight I will be presenting the 2024 Annual Report. I ask that you hold questions until the end of the presentation. The presentation tonight will just be going over the report at a high level, but we've included for your reading pleasure the full in-color report for you to review in more detail later on. Is this working to advance it? All right, excuse the technical difficulties. The annual report is a requirement of Measure P, and this presentation will cover the general outline of the report, including some highlighted data. The full report is available on the Measure P website, so you can reference it again in the future. The annual report includes an overview of the department, as well as key required reporting elements, such as the percentage of Fresnans that live within a half mile of the park, progress on the park's master plan implementation, and more. I would also like to note that we've included within the PRAC portion of the report an in memoriam photo and statement to honor the late Dr. Opuda, as she was gracious to share her time and talents with us during this time. The reporting period covered in the report is from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Please note that some programs are reported seasonally, meaning they occur slightly outside of this time frame. For example, the aquatics program is reported by summer season, which ranges from June through August. However, the reporting periods are labeled for each program on the bottom of each page, and the same methods are used year over year, so we can allow for some comparison. The report includes a brief overview of parks, including our facilities and amenities. During this time period, there were 108 parks and facilities in the inventory. We will see this number increase as new parks officially come online. As you know, we've got a number of things in construction, so we would expect this number to continue to increase. The report also provides a high level of each category, what was budgeted during this fiscal year. Actual expenditures are available in the annual Measure P audit, which is posted on the city's website and publicly available. Additional technical difficulties, hold please. Next slide. We have to do the old school way. All right, so the Measure P ordinance requires that we report on the number of Fresnans that live within a half a mile of a park. And in the report, during this reporting period, 33% of Fresnans lived within a half a mile walking distance of a park. Please note that this only includes parks that are maintained by the Parks Department and not CFD parks, which are part of subdevelopments and maintained by Public Works. So there is more parkland in the city overall and green space, but we really focus just on the parks that we maintain because that's the value that's used during the highest needs, and we felt that that would be the most comparable. As new parks such as Les Kimber or the Southeast Fresno Sports Complex come online, we would expect this value to increase as well. Measure P also requires a report on the percentage of Fresnans accessing programs. As a refresher, Parks offers many programs that are funded by Measure P and grants. I know I recently did a presentation on the programs, so in this presentation, we're just providing a list. During this time period, we offered 15 different programs that are all listed on this slide, everything from after school to senior programs, as well as activating some spaces for warming and cooling. In the report itself, there is a detailed summary of each and every program for your review, including photos, highlights, and total reach by unique individual and total attendance as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. Contained within the report, there is an overview of all the programs that total to the attendance data in the table that you see before you now. The table is a summary and includes the total population by age group, attendance data, and unique individual data. Just for a refresher, the unique individuals, the Fresnans, that's going to be, let's say, one person, and then their attendance is how many times somebody came. So one person might come to something 30 times over the year. This table demonstrates that attendance at parks programs reflect the equivalent of 116% of the population. This means that we served a total of 640,000 with the programs that we're offering citywide. To be fair, it's likely even higher than that, but this is our best data collection method as we continue to grow and refine those methods. But we have seen growth in many of the programs, and as you review the report in detail, you'll see some of those highlights as well. Included in your report is also an overview of the Parks Master Plan implementation. The section of the report is laid out with each of the goals from the Parks Master Plan. As many of you know, the Parks Master Plan outlines 9 different goals, everything from funding to celebrating parks. Within each goal, there are different recommendations, a series of recommendations that roll up into that overarching goal. Within the report, there's a table there that you'll see on the slide to your right, and that gives a status update for each of the recommendations that roll up to the goal. And you can see what we have completed, what's ongoing, what has not yet started. I'm happy to report that there's been really a lot of progress as you flip through. There are a few areas that still need some additional attention, but you'll start to see that as we go year over year, some continued progress in achieving those goals and recommendations outlined in the plan. The report also gives a detailed update from the Public Works Department on the implementation of the Active Transportation Plan. The table presented in this presentation summarizes the growth in active transportation facilities during this time period. Most projects have multiple funding sources in addition to Measure P, such as grants, general fund, or other investments. But as you can see within the table, and as you'll see in the report, there was significant progress. Some of the major milestones that I'll highlight during this reporting period include 12.3 miles of new sidewalk installed, over 400 ADA ramps, and over 2,900 new trees. So really some major accomplishments within this section for your review. We also provide an update on deferred maintenance and improvements. This section highlights routine maintenance as well as capital projects. A lot of times you hear about different construction projects or design projects, but new this year we highlighted a total number of maintenance requests that we have processed. In FY24, there were over 4,800 maintenance requests. So this is everything from a broken trash can to some paint that's needed, graffiti, different things that we would process en route to the appropriate team. A lot of that's done through our 311 system as well as staff on site to monitor, maintain, and serve the community. During this reporting period, there were a total of 123 capital projects in some phase of implementation. The report itself gives you a better idea of each of the phases, but at a high level, 19 were in the initiation and planning phase, 68 projects were in design, 11 projects were in construction, and a total of 25 were completed. This is an increase in completed projects from last year's report, and shows some major things happening. You should see construction out in your community. We go into detail for each of the phases of capital projects. There's a table that lists every project. It also includes a number that corresponds to a map, so you can see what projects are occurring in your neighborhoods. We include a reference to the audit as well, so if you'd like to tie any of these projects to the annual audit, for your convenience, we've included the audit number. So if you can use Control F into the audit, you'll be able to trace that. It's the last couple of digits of each of the projects. And we have sorted each of the projects by park. In prior years, the projects were listed by phase and not by park. So just for your viewing convenience, that's all included for you. All right, park rangers, just a very brief update on these slides, but there are more pieces of information included. Including this update is not necessarily a requirement of Measure P, but it's consistent with past requests from PRAC, so we want to make sure that we included the information. During this time period, there were 19 rangers that were trained and assigned to serve the parks. You can see that they're enjoying that role there on the slides with the youth particularly. All right, so this concludes my presentation. It's really, again, just a high-level overview of the report to orient you to the document as you read through. I'm available for any questions that you may have. I can either answer them tonight or look into it for you, depending on what you ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation, Shelby.
Madam
I'm going to be
Chair,
a little
can I
selfish, and I'm going to go first. Normally, I go to the other commissioners, but
Okay.
When it comes to Fresnans having access to parks, I noticed that our park score is still at a 98. We've been fluctuating between a 94 and a 98 since maybe 2015, 2016. And then as I look at all the other cities in California, we have Bakersfield at a 90, Los Angeles at a 90. But we also have like Fremont at a 38, Oakland at a 44, Sacramento at a 32, San Diego at a 22, San Francisco at a 6, and Irvine at a 2. Are we looking at these other cities, sister cities, to see what they're doing in their park system in order for us to be able to close the disparity gap here in Fresno?
Yes, so we actually just completed our data compilation. Every year we have to report out to the Trust for Public Land so that they can make that assessment. So a couple of things. We really looked carefully at all the data that was being reported so that we can ensure we were really capturing all the different elements that get scored. We're hopeful that that closer look, everything from gathering volunteer hours and all the different investments that go into parks, will help with our score. We'll find that out early next year when they release it. We also have been participating in a working group with the Trust for Public Land so that our team and our staff can learn from best practices. We're pursuing grant funds to help with some of the outreach that's needed, and really looking at how can we get that score up. The one thing I will note, though, is in that score, comparing our progress to ourselves is going to be really important because there are other locations that have had quite a head start. And as we start to invest and grow and increase acreage, looking year over year at the data that you see in our annual report is going to help to show the progress. I fully expect that our score will improve, especially as some of the larger parks that are under construction right now come online. But do know that we keep that top of mind, and we've been working as a team to make sure that we're capturing all the great work that's being done and then learn from best practices that they have to offer.
It seems that we are consistently at the bottom, no matter what we do, no matter how much money is being allocated from the budget to the Parks Department, and now we have Measure P, where we have a special tax. So we're not doing something because we're constantly ending up in the bottom of the barrel. Out of the largest 100 cities, we're constantly at a 98, a 97, or sometimes a 94. So maybe actually taking field trips to these different cities and looking at their park system and talking to their parks department to see what they're actually doing, or going after some grants, or even putting pressure on our city council to allocate more funding to the parks department, because Measure P is supposed to supplement the funding that's being allocated from the budget, not to supplant it. And it seems like that is being supplanted now because we haven't changed our park score.
Chair McQuaid, Shelby, do you mind going into some of the data that they're asking for and kind of their rubric, how they're going through and looking at this? So some of the priorities we've had as a city versus what they're asking as far as amenities we're building, how they categorize a park. I want Shelby to kind of go into that to kind of show you, what we're doing isn't wasted by any means. As Shelby mentioned, measuring ourselves from where we sat just a few years ago is important. But looking at some of the priorities that they put in those scores versus, our community and how we view it. So Shelby, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I think that'd be helpful. I'm pretty familiar with it, but I wonder if all the other commissioners are familiar with it.
So it's a great tool, right? So they measure different metrics nationally, including the acreage, average size of parks. They look at amenities, but the amenities that they measure are very limited. They include things like restrooms and basketball. We don't get any points for having amenities that may be more culturally appropriate or more of interest to the community. If they included all of the amenities that we offer, for example, that may help to increase our score. We also do have a lot of great equity work that's been done with the highest needs outreach, with the prioritization of investments through that process. But the way that they score each of the criteria, because we did a deep dive into the rubric and how things are assessed and how they receive points, there is some misalignment with some of the things that we hear from the community as important and some of the things that tool prioritizes nationwide. It's not to say that it isn't a good tool. It's just to say that there's some areas where they may need to maybe weight it for the fact of like the average income of households. Comparing Fresno to other cities that are higher income and smaller geographically is not necessarily an even comparison when you look at many factors. And so really looking at the tool and how they weight points. I don't know if we need to provide like a workshop or anything, but I will say we've done a really deep dive. I have my binder in my office. We've gone through every single section. We were at times undercounting the value of volunteer hours that we have to show investment in the parks. We also have, I know we've said it numerous times, but there are so many parks under development. The green space that comes online from that in the next year should help to increase our acreage as well as our average acreage. They use a median measure, so some of the smaller parks can throw off our score. But I will say this, we're watching the score and we're making every effort to improve. But there is also a lot of progress to celebrate that will not get captured on that score. So as we work with them, we do plan to provide feedback about the tool they're using, especially just maybe some bias that's already built into it, because I don't think that's the intention of the Trust for Public Land. I think they're trying to create, a metric to strive for better. But there isn't a way to capture your own city's growth compared to past years. If we're compared to, let's say Washington, D.C., they have quite a high score, but they also have national monuments that block off land just for parks. And, our national parks are a drive away. They're not within Fresno proper. But in any case, I could go on and on about the park score. We are passionate about improving it. I hope that that will manifest in our score in the future. And we are looking at ways to give feedback to that process just so that it's accurately capturing the progress.
But we can also cite to the low park score previous years of disinvestment in our parks department as well. So even though the Trust of Land has their own criteria that they look at cities to rate their park system, you still have to look at our city with the disinvestment into our park system for previous years for us to be in the predicament that we're in now, and for us to even have the language of Measure P and start our parks campaign back in 2015 because it was brought to the attention of community and community organizers and CBOs. So I understand everything that you're saying, but that's still not an excuse for us to constantly be in the bottom. So something has to be done. And I'm not like,
Yeah,
saying
agreed.
it's you, but
Yeah, no, I
something
understand.
has to be done because we've been consistent with being at 98. When can we at least get into the 80s? Especially when you have cities like Oakland and Stockton. Stockton is at 81. You got Oakland at 44. You got Bakersfield at 90, one of our sister cities. So what are they doing? Because they were right there with us, but now they're starting to raise their park score up because I watch and keep track of it. So just like having conversations and maybe creating more open green space, stop building pocket parks, the smaller parks, and let's look at to building bigger parks, right? Just some suggestions. And I have one more question.
Sure.
How close are we to hiring the 20th park ranger that's, because I know we're supposed to have 20. How close are we reaching that number? Because we have 19 right now.
Right, I wish PD was here, but I believe they are either in the process of interviews. I know they had some lists and some candidates. I know a couple have backed out during that process, so they're actively recruiting, interviewing, and their goal is to get to 20. So I anticipate here in the near future we will hit that 20th park ranger.
Is the reason why we have candidates backing out, is it because it's other job offers, or what are some of the reasons?
And Assistant City Manager, throw a pin at me if I'm speaking incorrectly, but I know a couple of them have started the job and then shortly into it realized this wasn't for them and have resigned and so forth. And some have, PD has a very strict background process, so I think they've had some candidates who may not have made it through that. So they want to make sure they're getting qualified candidates, aren't just filling a position just to fill it. So PD's going through that process, and I know they're actively recruiting, and that is a priority for them. So I know they will be there soon, and they should be there shortly.
I remember when we started Measure P and we came up with the language for the park rangers, it wasn't supposed to be as strict as hiring police officers for the city, correct? This was supposed to be a job opportunity for youth, for seniors, for retirees to be able to be in our parks. It seems like now that the park rangers are housed under the PD and they have this strict criteria that we're not reaching the goal of having 20, or there's a high turnover rate.
I think some of that from the background standpoint are the systems they're working in, when it comes to the technology and some of the databases. So they want to make sure, they're keeping up with that. I don't know if anything else TJ to add to that.
And some of the attrition is positive attrition. In other words, they're promoting or they're transferring to different positions within the city. So that is, those are always positives, because we're getting folks experience and exposure in those different roles.
Do we have a list of applicants who have applied who maybe didn't get a call that we can refer to that list to keep the least, to get the next hire and to keep that full roster of 20?
It is a civil service position, so we do keep an eligible list. And once the eligible list expires, then we go back out for recruitment. But as long as there's an eligible list, each time there's a vacancy, the department can request to have a requisition filled, and names would be supplied to them.
And that eligible list is good for 12 months, a year?
It depends.
It depends. So for the park rangers, how much is that eligible list? How long is that eligible list?
I would have to get back to you because they all have different time period based on how many people have applied and where we are in the process. So if it is what I would refer to as a robust list with over 30 people on that list, it typically would last for 2 years, I believe.
I was afraid with the park rangers that this was going to happen, so I would like to revisit that next year. Because the way that it's going on now, it seems like that you have to go through fire just to become a park ranger when we have recreational aides and that are in the parks, and this position was not created for that. This position was created to give youth and seniors and members of our community an opportunity to become a park rangers, especially in the parks that they live closer to, and be a familiar face. And now with all the strict criteria, it seems like there seems to be a high turnover rate. So I would like to revisit this next year. I'm not going to hold up too much time, so I will pass it to Commissioner Collier. You had a question.
Just one quick question. Thank you for this report. You mentioned that we could get this online through the Parks and Recreation website, or?
Yeah, we should be able to send you an email with the link.
Okay.
But it's on the Parks website. We have a section called Measure P, and then from there, we have our annual reports all posted.
Okay. So go to the Parks and Rec website and then go to the Measure P information, and it should be there.
Yes, it'll be in the bottom right corner.
Okay, I want to start with Commissioner Peraza because I interrupted Commissioner Collier. That's why I came back to her. Commissioner Peraza, do you have any questions?
Thank you. I was going to ask you a point of reference in your presentation. By that means, when you identify a figure, what does that mean? Is it good or bad, or how does it compare to prior years? Is that a positive increment, or is it? But anyway, I noticed there's another handout where we are discussing a 5-year evaluation, and I'm assuming there we'll have a very careful analysis of what improvement are we making, whether in the construction of new parks or the improvement of existing parks that had a lot of deferred maintenance. And I'm looking forward, and I noticed that it's going to be in early 2026 when there will be a report, and there'll be some draft documents prepared, and then so I'm really looking forward to that because you folks deal with parks every day, but we don't. I mean, I don't. And so it's useful to have a point of reference in some items. I mean, like it said, I believe it's 30% of folks live near to a park. Remember the goal of being within half a mile, I think it is. So,
Per 1,000
so that's,
residents, I think.
what was that?
Per 1,000 residents, I believe, within a half a mile from a park or something like that.
Yes. So a question I have on something else related to adult sports. I noticed that in the categories you have basketball, softball, cricket, and then tournaments, and I don't see soccer. Is that because those are events that are organized by staff, by the department? Or what happens to soccer? Why isn't it not counted? Or where does soccer appear?
So it is not part of this report. We don't operate soccer leagues. There's nonprofits and other businesses that reserve the facilities for those soccer leagues, but we've not offered adult soccer as part of our adult sports program. We have offered a soccer tournament, a late night tournament. I think you attended at Mosqueda. That'll show up in the FY25 report, but we don't currently offer an adult league for that sport.
And do you offer it for youth, not for adults? Because I thought I saw a figure for the youth, but not for adults.
Yes, that's correct.
I just felt that the resources being used for soccer are city-owned. They're taxpayers' resources. Therefore, there should be some acknowledgement of such a wonderful service our city provides to that particular league. I don't know if there were other sports that were left out because they're not organized by the department, but I just wanted to point out that that would be useful to know how many folks actually take advantage of city facilities in the sport of soccer. That's, in my mind, very important.
Yeah, and we do ask the question of reservation holders of their approximate number served. But to comply with Measure P, we're reporting on parks programs. And so since we don't run that program, we do have data on, the usage of reservation-based use of the fields, as well as the estimated number of teams served. But that doesn't show up here, again, because of the focus of this report for the purposes of Measure P. So we know that there are more people coming to parks than just what you see here. This is participation in parks programs. We also know that the people within the half mile, when you look at the park score, is higher because they're including parks that are funded through CFDs. So this is a very focused report. But we do have some of that data that you're asking for.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Duran?
Hi, thank you. I've got a clarifying question. So I'm thinking, or I'm looking at the design phase section of the presentation and how you mentioned the corresponding audit number is included. So I'm looking at the Cal Tutman Play Structure Project. And so it's the design phase section, but in the audit, it says completed. I just wanted to clarify, does that mean that the design phase is completed or the project itself?
Which year for the audit are you looking at?
The 2025.
So this is FY24.
Okay, so that would make sense. Why
Yeah,
they're
so it'll
not-
come full
okay.
circle, and I do apologize for the delay. We've been working diligently to get this. We'll have the FY25 to follow shortly, but you'll just want to look at the year of the audit so that you can reference it. And then if you do have questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Miller? Vice Chair Ward?
I wanted to thank you for the presentation and also thank you for, I would say, the enhanced reporting or way that information is being presented in this annual report compared to the prior annual report. I think it's especially helpful to have the tie-in of the capital projects to the audit references. I think making it easier for people to understand how much money is dedicated to different things and kind of where their taxpayer dollars went is going to be very helpful. So thank you.
Commissioner Kurcharski?
Yeah, thank you. I have two questions, right? The first, I was wondering, just out of sort of curiosity, I know when I put reports like this together and I look at everything all at once, which doesn't happen all the time, that things come up. I was just curious if anything kind of came out of this that really said these are some opportunities moving forward that, I don't know, maybe weren't noticed before, or maybe that were noticed before, but were even more highlighted by your review.
Yeah, so we chose in this report to include some more highlights of like growth in certain programs, and we reviewed some of the participant surveys in more detail, and you'll see some quotes throughout. I will say that it is a very active process, so as we're collecting data, we're using that to inform, you know, hey, there was a lot of demand for this, let's make sure we have enough capacity, or hey, this has less demand, we're seeing a trend where maybe there's less interest. What do we need to do? Is this program still, you know, the priority, or is there some adjustments that need to be made? So a lot of that does happen. We've got our master spreadsheet, all our source data, and we're really looking year over year. You'll get into the 5-year review shortly, but I will say that we designed this tool and this report to be very data driven, and so you should be able to pick up the last year's report and turn to a very similar report and compare and see that growth. But I will say we have seen some things illuminated, and it's been really helpful as we go into, you know, budgeting. As we hear the feedback from you all, we look at the trends, and we apply for grants if we're seeing, you know, demand for different things. So I will say, yes, I can't think of great examples right now, but I will say you'll see that highlighted through the report, and it's really a daily effort. I really work with the team to focus on continuous improvement, and they'll probably all tell you that. We'll do a great job, and then we'll say, actually, like, hey, we're seeing this. What else could we do to incorporate, you know, that feedback or those goals? So it's always, how can we serve the community better? But we do look forward to the 5-year as well, so that maybe there's additional insights that you all see. And I won't get too far into that, keep me on the agenda, but you'll hear about that soon.
Okay, thank you. My second question was on number 8, or I think goal 8. Was it advocate? I think it was. Yeah, where you have 2 of them not started yet. And maybe I was wondering if there was a role for the commission in either of those.
So some of these goals, especially in the advocate section, I think you'll start to see more progress in future plans, but it's also not always goals that Parks alone delivers on. And so we could speak to ways that, you all are advocating for more parks, and that is, the PrAC goal has been accomplished. But I think there are some goals in here that really are triggered by maybe even community members that come and speak. And so some of the ones that we haven't yet started, we really looked at closely to figure out the best way to advance that. But we often, as public servants ourselves, are not going out to rally together large groups in mass. That becomes more of a political activity. I hope that answers your question.
It answered it, but I'm not sure I'm catching everything you're sharing, but that's okay. Thank you.
I'd be happy to explain it further maybe
Okay.
outside of this. But there are some goals that really oftentimes are community-driven or foundation-driven in nature, so we'd have to figure out the best way to do that. But we are looking at the not yet started because there's just a few of them that are left in here. So want to get them all moving.
Thank you. Commissioner Dolan?
Thank you. Shelby, thank you for that presentation, and thanks for this report put together. It's terrific. I guess just in responding to something that you brought up, that this comparison between cities isn't necessarily measuring all of the amenities that we have in our parks or other measurables. I would just caution you about that because it's also not measuring those in other cities. So I think relative to each other, we're probably not performing the way we want to be. But I would also say, and I would say this to the chair as well, that I think it's worth having patience, that we have started Measure P, that it takes some time for this to get rolling. It takes some time, not just for the funds to be dispersed, but for those projects. As we all know, construction moves slowly, whether it's maintenance or new parks. So I'm very encouraged by where we're going, and I say that after sitting on this commission for going on 5 years now. So I think you guys should be proud and take heart in that, but let's continue to try to improve. And to the chair's point, let's continue to measure ourselves and try to succeed against others, because there's no reason why, with this kind of funding that we have now with Measure P, that we can't in the future do better. So thank you.
I agree. However, I'm going to put on my community organizer hat, and I'm going to take you to school a little bit. I've been doing this work, and in 2013, 2014 is when we first started talking about the disparity between our parks in North and South. We put up billboards. We did bus wraps. The reason why the Parks Master Plan got updated was because of the residents and the community-based organizations who made a lot of noise, because at that time, the Parks Master Plan had not been updated since 1989. So even though we have made some way because of the supplement of Measure P, we still have a long way to go. And then again, it goes back to the leaders who make the decisions in our city every day not allocating funding to our Parks Department for us to be in the position that we're in. When we have our sister cities who have pretty much the same population as we do, and their park score is higher than ours, I have a problem with that, because we serve a lot of people.
I agree with you.
So, yeah, I'm gonna always say shame on whoever's responsible for making decisions when it comes to allocating funding to our Parks Department, because just like the churches, the parks are our hubs in our community. That's where everybody goes. So we have to make sure that we maintain them and create open green space and create space.
100% agree with you. And if it wasn't clear, I am agreeing with you. I'm just saying I think
it
warrants having patience. We can't undo generations of disinvestment in our park system.
We cannot undo generations, but let's remember where we were, and let's remember what Measure P is. It's not to supplant it, it's to supplement it, and then we still have to have our elected officials do their part. But thank you. Commissioner Trillo?
Yes, Shelby, good job on the presentation. Thank you. I had a question, but I can't find my answer, or my question somewhere in here. So if it's all right with you, if I could send you an email, I'd appreciate it.
That'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you all.
I would like to go out to the public to see if anyone from the public would like to comment regarding this item? Oh, well, it has it right here. I'm reading. Thank you. Hey, see, when I skip, you guys don't say nothing. But then when I follow, you guys like, Chair. All right. So let's move on to the next workshop. ID number 25-1711, Commission Overview of the Measure P 5-year evaluation of the program. Would someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation? Oh, we get you today, huh?
It's me.
Would you like for us to hold our questions after?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Commissioners. I am Sarah Gaitan, Program Manager for the Parks Department, and we will be reviewing the 5-year evaluation with you tonight. It is part of the Measure P ordinance. I'll be going through the workshop tonight, and we'll take some time at the end to answer your questions. Next slide. Tonight we're going to be reviewing the Measure P ordinance requirement, the timelines and deliverables, sample evaluation topics, and some resources that are available to the Commission. The 5-year evaluation is a requirement of the Measure P ordinance. This requirement can be found in section 7-1509E7. It states that the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission shall complete a 5-year evaluation of the Measure P program and present its findings to the city and public. To put together a timeline, we took into consideration the date in which Measure P was implemented and counted 5 years into the future from that. So the evaluation timeframe will be from April 22nd, 2021 to April 22, 2026. The evaluation will be due on that April 22nd, 2026 date. We have also outlined a potential timeline here to help meet the deadline, but the process itself will be up to the Commission to establish. December 15th, which is today, we initiate the evaluation process. There's also a hearing on the agenda tonight to discuss a subcommittee for this task. The March 23rd date would be the best time to have a draft begin the legal review process. The goal is to have a final draft ready for publishing onto the PRAC agenda on April 13th, 2026, and then to present the evaluation to city staff and community during the PRAC meeting that would be scheduled for April 20th, 2026. The language in the ordinance about the evaluation is limited, so we have identified some topics that could be considered during this process for you. These are meant to help guide as a starting point if needed, and they are pulled directly from the section 7-1506. How is Measure P improved and maintained safe, clean neighborhood parks and playgrounds? How has Measure P developed new parks and recreation facilities for youth and seniors? How has Measure P expanded recreation programs and job training opportunities? How has it expanded access to arts and culture? And how has Measure P invested in trails, beautification, and litter removal throughout Fresno? The Parks Department has also included some resources that could be helpful in collecting data for the evaluation. All council and PRAC agendas can be found through our Legistar portal, and the website could be found here at fresno.legistar.com, and it's calendar.aspx. Legistar has 2 key search features that can be helpful in finding information that you may be looking for. You can search by calendar dates with an option to filter out all of the PRAC meetings or council meetings specifically. This can also be helpful if you want details about an item that was brought to PRAC in the past and you want to take a look at the presentation, the recording, the meeting, or even just the minutes. It also has a legislation search option that can narrow certain keywords that you are looking for. So you could type in highest need neighborhood, for example, and it would pull up anything with those keywords on it. So any agenda, whether it be council or PRAC in particular. Another resource available to you is our Fresno website. The Measure P page has previous annual reports, Parks Master Plan, the ordinance, highest need memos, and all information relevant to parks. But you can also find budgets and audits on the website. We also have our social media page. The page is a good way to see how Parks Department is engaging with the community and to see highlights of the activities, programs, and events that are being provided. And also, as always, you could also reach out to me if you are searching for anything in particular that you may need to find, and I can guide you to it. And this concludes the presentation, so I will take any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for that presentation. Again, I'm going to go first. With this evaluation, would this be open to the public as well? Because us as commissioners, we can say, oh yeah, Measure P is great. They're doing all this great stuff, but it's really what community is saying about Measure P, right? So just wondering how that process is going to work.
You know, this is going to be our first time doing this, and as you know, we're going to open it up right now to form the subcommittee. But I think would we leave it up to the subcommittee to see if they would want to include the public?
Well, we can leave it up to the commission as well. If the commission wants to have the subcommittee open it up, they can request that as well.
I mean, in order for us to make sure that we get Measure P right, I think it's only right that we hear from the public to see what's working and what's not working and how can we improve as commissioners. Because us as commissioners, oh yeah, Measure P is great. We might want to tighten up in this area, but for the most part, it's great. But the public, they're the ones who are benefiting really from this thing that we call Measure P. So to really hear their feedback would be helpful.
That would be good.
Okay. Commissioner Barraza?
Yes, Madam Chair. I kind of take it the other way. I'm interested in knowing if there are areas that need improvement, will there be recommendations coming from staff or maybe the public on how to improve certain areas where the performance may not be at the level that it should be? That's one observation. The other one is that I really hope that there will be a summary fiscal component where you're able to analyze annually how much money was actually expended from Measure P. And secondly, very important, it's always to see how much general fund money was utilized as part of the process, because there is some rule somewhere that we're not supposed to supplant general fund money with Measure P money. And in order for us to see that, we will have to see the annual numbers for Measure P and the general fund and other funding sources.
Commissioner Barraza, all those numbers can be found in our adopted budget. So FY26, as well as the audit that's completed every year. So we can definitely share those links to the adopted budget to show the general fund contribution versus Measure P and all other funding sources, grants, revenue, and so forth.
Okay. That will be helpful to have that information. And I think that's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I've been wanting to say Commissioner McKay all the time. That is your first name. Commissioner Duran.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. No, actually, one question. So when you went over the timeline and deliverables, is it kind of two-step to where the first step will be the commission as a whole approves kind of the framework, and then we also separately decide kind of the subcommittee makeup? Is that right?
I think it's going to be up to you all how you want to establish that in combination with the subcommittee.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, I didn't hear an answer to my question whether will there be recommendations where improvement is needed?
The evaluation is going to be done by the commission, so it would be up to the commission to highlight those potential areas of improvement that you would like to see and let us know.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller? Vice Chair Ward? Commissioner Collier? Okay, which commissioners want to speak? Commissioner Dolan?
Just want to lend my support to your discussion of public input. I think it's critically important, and if it's this commission that needs to direct the subcommittee to do so, I would motion for that when the time comes.
Thank you.
And Chair McCoy, in looking at the ordinance here in the section that it references, I think I'll be able to see with my glasses on. What does it say? Every 5 years, submit an evaluation of the program to the public and the city of Fresno. So I think it has that intent to include the public. We can definitely work with the subcommittee, whoever's chosen to be on that, to make sure that's part of that process.
That's great. I think that'd be a true evaluation of what Measure P is actually doing in its first 5 years, right? So that's really good. Okay. Any other questions for Sarah before we move on? You got a question? No?
No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to hearings. ID number 25-1723, hearing to adopt a resolution to create the Measure P 5-year evaluation subcommittee and define committee roles, responsibilities, and membership. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item?
Chair McCoy, did we skip an item? 9C?
Oh, I thought, see, thank you. Look, I got pressure on me, like, let's hurry up. Okay, my bad. Let's go to 9C, ID number 25-1721, progress overview of the Measure P internship pathway program. I was ready to put that subcommittee together.
All right. Hello, commissioners, director, assistant city manager. Thank you for having me. My name is Jacob Warren, program manager in the personnel department. Tonight, I will be giving an overview of the Measure P internship pathway program. This program is intended for youth, young adults, veterans, and seniors. I will note that this program is in the early development stages. Our mission for this program is to build an exclusive workforce pipeline connecting youth, young adults, veterans, and seniors to city careers in the 5 categories of conservation, science, arts and culture, green technology, and parks and recreation. Our objectives for the program are to create a program design, which are in the early stages of design. We want to develop these internships aligned with Measure P. I will go over what category those are under in the next slide. We want to establish partnerships with educational institutions and veteran organizations. We want to market these opportunities in all neighborhoods, but especially the underserved neighborhoods. And we want to get to a point where we can eventually evaluate the outcomes and successes to report back. So here is the Measure P Category 3. I will just go over it as a quick refresher. 8.5% of the funds made available from Section 71504 shall be dedicated as described in this paragraph. Funds in this paragraph shall be available for the planning and delivery of projects and programs, including but not limited to the following: physical activity programming that promotes recreation and accessibility to recreational facilities, sports, arts, and active programs, community and senior recreation center programs, swimming and water-oriented recreation programs, junior lifeguard, science and education, summer day camps, and other youth programs, after-school programs for the youth, and job training and employment opportunities for the youth, young adults, and veterans. We are on a couple slides up. Next one. Thank you. Of the funds made available from this paragraph, not less than 50% shall be made available on an annual basis for programs that provide job training, career development, or both to youth, young adults, and veterans, including education and/or certifications for jobs within the conservation, science, arts, green technology, and parks and recreation fields. Programs funded pursuant to this paragraph shall prioritize service for at-risk youth and seniors as defined by the Parks Department in conjunction with the Commission. Our purpose for the program is to build career pathways for the youth, young adults, veterans, and seniors into city careers, or to gain transferable skills. Our focus areas will be those 5 categories that I have mentioned. We want to structure this program as a partner-based education plus a part-time city internship, or direct internship placement with a participating department, hoping that the interns would gain mentorship, training, and career development. Essentially, we want to align these jobs with actual city classifications to support the process of the competitive hiring process. We want to partner with colleges, trade schools, and community organizations. We're hopeful that the outcomes lead to a pathway to a city career or development of transferable work skills. And there at the bottom, we have essentially the timeline of the program, starting with the onboarding and then ending with the city competitive hiring process. We hope that the training, mentorship, and career development help with that process when they are applying and doing the interview. Here's some examples of the internships that they would be mirroring. So there we have the categories on the left, that the 5 that I have mentioned. So for the Parks and Recreation category, maybe they are mirroring someone in doing some administrative or clerical work, or maybe they are on the landscape maintenance side mirroring that role. And conservation, maybe they are mirroring someone in the community outreach portion, or maybe even doing some irrigation work. And the list goes on. Science, maybe they are mirroring someone that's doing Geographic Information System, GIS. In the arts category, they could be following someone doing a community coordinator work. And green technology, maybe they go as far as mirroring someone that is doing the project management side. So in summary, the internship program will be focused initiative aimed at the Measure P job training categories and intended for youth 18 to 24, young adults, veterans, and seniors. Internships may be paid or unpaid, serving in those 5 categories that I have mentioned. Internships may be educational based or a direct placement to a city, participating city department. Roles are designed to align with city job classifications and include onboarding, mentorship, hands-on training, and career development. And we're hopeful that this initiative not only strengthens Fresno's workforce, but also expands access to public service careers in underserved neighborhoods. And that concludes my presentation. There's my information. I am available for questions.
Thank you, Jacob, for that presentation. Commissioner Barraza, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question I have, I noticed that you offer the opportunity for people to be paid or unpaid, which means that's volunteer work. So I just want to confirm with you that I'm reading that correctly. And 2, is it possible that the cost of the salary or stipend, whatever you pay the participant, that the cost can be shared by the city of Fresno and, and an educational institution like Fresno State or Fresno City College? Is that a possibility?
That's a great question. As far as unpaid or paid, there are internships in both ways as right now in the personnel department. But for our program, we are undetermined on exactly if it's going to be unpaid or paid. And for the second question, I'll go ahead and defer to the director.
Commissioner, can you repeat that second question just so I make sure I have it correctly?
The question was whether was it possible under the structure you're setting up for training providers or education institutions? I'm thinking more like City College and Fresno State. Can they pay for 1/2 or a portion of the salary that they have available in their programs?
Thank you, Commissioner Brosno. We are working with our different educational partners. That is the goal, to defer as much of the cost and have cost sharing, as well as if it is a paid internship program and the individual is placed in one of our departments, the city will be paying for that intern as well. So this is not designed to just come out of Measure P funding, but the infrastructure itself is, because that's where how it's written in Measure P. We're trying to fulfill that goal of the measure.
And I like the fact that you're using this tool to serve underserved communities, because this is an excellent way of creating a career ladder for someone to come into the system and get exposed to procedures of the organization and hopefully become permanent employees of the city of Fresno.
Definitely.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Duran.
No questions, but thank you for the presentation, and I especially appreciated, like has been mentioned, the job alignment in classification and job description. I think that's wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller.
Just want to thank you. I think this is great.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Ward.
Thank you for the presentation. It wasn't quite clear to me, where are you in the implementation of this initiative? It's still in development, or it's being implemented? Thank you.
It's not finished, but I would say the early stages of development.
Commissioner Collier.
Yes. You're Mr. Bourne.
Yes.
Are you any relationship to Jim Bourne?
No.
No, okay.
Fresno B, but I do know him, or know of him.
Just curious. I noticed you had an 8.5% of the funds made available, and then on another page you say you give 50%, so that would be 4.25 approximately what will be used.
Yeah, approximately.
Okay, and then a couple other questions. On the green technology, is solar any part of this? Green technology?
We haven't discussed that, but we can definitely, when we're still planning in the planning stages, we would consider that.
Okay, and then last question. Under science, you have veterinary animal behaviorist or care specialists. You don't work with a zoo, do you?
No, maybe that would be for the Fresno Animal Center. It was an example of a internship that they could be mirroring, but the city of Fresno does have the Fresno Animal Center.
Got it. Thank you, and thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Commissioner Karchowski. Commissioner Dolan.
Yes, Jacob, thank you very much for the presentation. I want to try to understand something. What you said paid and unpaid. What is the unpaid? Is that academic credit solely, or you wouldn't do it in other cases?
We could do it in either cases, but essentially them going to college and then working simultaneously with the city in conjunction of the two.
But for academic credit as opposed to pay?
Correct.
Because, I mean, clearly paid or unpaid internships is a huge equity issue in terms of who's going to be eligible and have the time and resources to do such a thing. And then I guess kind of following up on Commissioner Caglia, do you anticipate having any private sector partnerships in all of this at any point? Because I can imagine this overlaps with a lot of private sector work.
Yeah, we can work with community-based organizations, definitely. If that's what you're.
How do you define a community-based? I'm thinking specifically private sector, private employers, people looking can take on internships and work with people to develop these skills.
I'll go ahead and defer that one to the assistant city manager.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob. Like Jacob mentioned, we're in the development stage of this. I think primarily we're going to focus on the city in terms of the opportunities, and kind of incubate it and
Okay.
then see where we can start partnering with other. But we do have grand vision for this in terms of having internships that we can partner with either private sector, CBOs, other government agencies, but we have to incubate it here and see where we can kind of get it aligned and get it rolling.
Okay. I would encourage you to think about that. Certainly, I mean, speaking for one that I know well, there are plenty of internship opportunities, and we are constantly bringing interns in, often overlapping with a lot of this work. So I'm sure that we could partner up with you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Trujillo.
No questions.
I have a question. I don't know if it's a question or a suggestion. I see that the internships would be, focus areas would be parks and recreation. Is there a pathway for someone who's 18 and older to use this internship to becoming a parks ranger? Is it a possible pathway? Or has that even been thought of?
I don't think we've gotten that far, but I don't see why we would exclude it, particularly at this part. I think that if it's something within the city of Fresno, we can figure out how to get there and how to do it.
Yeah, I think that would be great, because they will be interning and already be familiar with the job, so why not pick from those interns to place them in a
It
permanent
may not be
position?
our pilot internship,
Yeah,
but it's something
yeah.
that we can
Something
definitely
that
see
we
how
can
we can make
visit.
it work.
Just
Absolutely.
a suggestion.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
I think it's safe for me to move on to hearings now. We will now move on to hearings. ID number 25-1723, hearing to adopt a resolution to create the Measure P 5-year evaluation subcommittee, define committee roles, responsibilities, and memberships. Before we have a discussion amongst ourselves, would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? I do see a card right there, but I don't know if it's for this item. No? Gilbert Lozano, would you like to come on up?
I was born in Valley Medical Center, and we've been in Southeast Fresno. We've been lacking parks. I was born in '67, so we used to have to play in the streets, high concentration of apartments. So it's easy to say to be patient, but in 2013, like she said, we started this. 2016, we did a march, and we still don't need no change. So why are we scoring low in the high percentiles with Cal and Bio screening pretty soon going to 5.0? We're still in the 90 percentiles, which, you know, for a lot of our things. So I think for a 5-year plan, we need to find out what the metrics are that they measure us and adjust this plan to that. Because all I see is programming. I see a lot of programming for existing parks. In Southeast Fresno, I look at this map for projects, and it still lacks tangible parks. You know, I don't see nothing in El Radica, which is there. I don't see nothing in Pillables. I don't see nothing in Sunnyside, the new parks being built. But you guys are still repeating the same mistakes, but with $38 million. I went to 3 park managers when I was working on the park on Peach Avenue. So I think you need to find out what they're measuring you on and adjust that, because I think that that's where your problem's at. A lot of your stuff is not tangible. Look at Roding Park. You don't have no water going into it. You have some changes, you have some improvements around going in there, but you know, you have no water going there. You have an old system of water where 3 of the 4 valves in there are, 2 of them are broke, one of them is working at half capacity, the other one. So those are things you need to improve, and you need to build parks, even if they're pocket parks. Southeast Fresno is growing. It's probably the largest part of Southeast Fresno. I mean, in Fresno, it's unique because everybody can access it within 15 minutes. And again, it's the highest concentration of apartments, therefore they have no green space. So I think that that's what you need to do, to figure a 5-year plan look at your mistake years and see what they're measuring you at and adjust your annual plan and your 5-year plan. And I think you'll get somewhere with improvements. And compare yourself to a city like Sacramento, because that's about the size of Fresno.
Thank you. Do we have anyone online? All right, I will go ahead and close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item?
We're gonna just adopt a resolution. That's at this point. We're not gonna pick the subcommittee members tonight, are we?
I will be appointing subcommittee members tonight.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have any questions regarding this item? No? Okay.
I've got a question, Chair.
Sure.
This might be for city staff, but in the 2 attachments for this item, am I wrong when I see that in the first document, it says we cannot have more than 3 commissioners, and then on the second, it's no more than 4? I just wanted to see what the number would be.
Angela, that question
I'm going
was
to
for
ask
you.
the city attorney to chime in on that one.
Can you repeat it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So for this item, we were given we have the resolution attachment and then the organizational form attachment. And so for the membership numbers on both documents, one says no more than 3 members, one says no more than 4. So I just wanted to clarify what the number was going to be.
So in order for it to be an ad hoc, it will have to be 3. This is, the organizational form is a standard city form. But for the purposes of the commission, it would be 3 members.
Okay, thank you so much.
Commissioner Kurchowski.
Yeah, could you help me understand where we're at with what the subcommittee would be, what their responsibilities would be? Or if maybe we're deciding that, where we starting?
Well, we just had the presentation on the 5-year evaluation. So our roles are defined in this packet. So what we would be doing is evaluating the Measure P program and present its findings to the city. So you'll begin the evaluation process. So you'll go back to when we first started and look at everything that we have done and see if there's any areas of improvement or is everything else fine. And then we would pressure you guys to open it up to the public. No, just to get some good feedback, and then you'll present it back to us, and then we'll present it, Parks Department will present it to City Council, correct? Or would it just stay here?
City attorney, does this go back to council for adoption? It's kind of like our annual
Like your
report then, in a
report
sense.
card, right?
So yes, this resolution is a resolution of the parks, and so it does not go back to council.
Okay.
It is voted on and it gets approved by the Parks Commission itself.
So we're the evaluator, correct? And if you look on, it's not numbered, but where it says Measure P, Section 7-1506, these would be the items that you'll be evaluating on.
And part of that responsibility would be working with the parks, closely with the Parks Department to get information to help with the evaluation process? Or is it everything that the commission's?
No, so on the next one, you have resources where you can go back and look at previous meetings.
understanding
We
now.
do get like the emails of the summaries of our meetings sent to us and things like that.
I see. Thank you. That's helpful.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution establishing the Measure P 5-year evaluation subcommittee?
So moved.
Thank you,
second
Commissioner
it.
Dolan. Thank you, Commissioner Collier. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. This item passes. As chair of this commission, I have the responsibility and authority to appoint members to this subcommittee. And I would like to appoint Commissioner Barraza. I would also like to appoint Commissioner Dolan.
I'm in attendance. I thought I couldn't be appointed to a committee.
And I will also like to, this is a hard one. Appoint Commissioner Duran. And we don't have to vote on that, right? I just give them their appointments.
That is correct.
Okay, just making sure.
Just by fiat.
Yeah, so you guys will meet in soon. Thank you. All right, let's move on. ID number 25-1697, hearing to receive public input on expanded access to arts and cultural grant program. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes for comments. I see no cards. Dr. Chavez, please come up.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I would be remiss if I didn't point out that you've just appointed a subcommittee, and we are in great need of the Arts Subcommittee.
Absolutely.
And that was ignored.
No, it wasn't ignored. It was some things that I asked for the commission that we haven't received, so it will be on the next item in January, and that committee will be formed.
That means we will go throughout the rest of December and January without a committee. Plans to move forward for the next grant cycle are critical, and while perhaps it doesn't impact the members of this commission, it greatly impacts the arts community. So without taking this action, you just delay the process.
It wasn't me that absolutely delayed the process. It's because of documentation that this commission has requested that wasn't received, that we couldn't move forward, and I have displayed that frustration when I set my agenda. So until we receive that documentation, which I hope is coming soon, that will be the next item, one of the first items on the agenda to get that approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Can I ask Ms. Chavez something real quick? Is it okay or no?
Well, we don't typically ask the public questions, but
That's okay. That's okay. I'll ask her afterwards.
Thank you. But do we have anyone online?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? Commissioner Barraza.
I happen to agree totally with Mrs. Chavez on the urgency of creating the Cultural Arts Subcommittee. I was also going to ask, when are we planning to review the guidelines? But what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Obviously, we need the subcommittee. And I was looking for that item here, and you said there's some information missing. Obviously, I don't know what that is, but I just want to...
The information that's missing is we wanted to create, as a commission, we decided to create a standing committee.
Oh, okay.
So we're waiting for that information that we have asked for, and when I spoke and set my agenda, that information was not given, so I didn't feel comfortable putting that on there. I want to make sure that, because I know this is what the commission wants, so in order for us to be able to get what we need to get, that won't be on that item will not be on this agenda. It'll be on the next agenda when we meet, and we'll be approving.
And I want to congratulate whoever has been working on that, because that's like a pending question that we never got fully clarified. That, I mean, it was probably clarified by a city attorney, but I think it's a good direction to take to go the permanent route if there's a justification for it. And I know that legal research has been done, so I'm happy to hear that. But you all know how important it is that we don't drag the process of issuing grant applications forever, and that needs to start going, because every time there's a delay and projects don't get done, and that's not good for us. And I know we all care about it, but I just had to say it because it's very important to us.
And I agree with you 100%. We do not want to repeat what we had the last 2 cycles of the grant funding for the arts cultural grants. So therefore, I didn't feel comfortable either, but in order for us to actually do our due diligence and serve our constituents correctly and serve our community correctly, and create that standing committee, that information needs to be had so we can have that for all of you guys up here. So we're working on that, and I put in that request. So January 2026, there will be a subcommittee formed. January 2026, we can start looking at different things and reviewing the guidelines and things like that, so we don't have a repeat, and it'll be a smoother process, hopefully.
Good thing.
This is our 3rd round, so hopefully we can get it right as we go along, but I do understand the frustration.
Thank you.
Nothing else? All right, let's move on to the next item, ID number 25-1698. Hearing to receive public input on allocations related to Measure P, updates to the Parks Master Plan and Cultural Arts Plan, and annual Parks Department budget and capital improvement plans. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes for comments. Anyone online?
No, there is not.
Okay, I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? No? It is 7:09. As always, I would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Dr. Francine Apuda, who is greatly missed. Happy holidays to you all, Happy New Year's, and happy birthday to me, December 30th. See you guys next year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.